Tesla CEO Elon Musk had everything. Billions in the bank, revolutionary companies changing the world, and adoring fans everywhere. But something was wrong. At his flagship Tesla factory, workers were quitting, quality was slipping. When a longtime employee's resignation letter claimed, "Nobody listens to us anymore," Musk made a shocking decision. He would become Elijah Miller, an ordinary factory worker, to see the truth for himself. For 2 weeks, wearing a disguise no one penetrated, he experienced the grueling assembly line, the ignored safety hazards, and indifferent managers who cared only about numbers. But the moment that truly changed everything was when he discovered Linda from HR crying alone in her office, surrounded by hundreds of worker complaints, all marked IGN Ned in red. What Musk found during his undercover mission would shake Tesla to its core. Elon Musk tapped his fingers on his glass desk. The morning sun filled his office at Tesla headquarters. Outside his window, the factory hummed with life. Workers moved like ants between buildings, machines roared, and robots danced as they built shiny cars. But something was wrong. Elon looked again at the papers in front of him. The numbers were good. Tesla was making more cars than ever. Money was flowing in. The stock price was up. So why did his stomach feel tight? He picked up a different paper. This one wasn't full of numbers. It was a letter from Sam, a worker who had quit last week. Sam had worked at Tesla for 5 years. "Nobody listens to us anymore," the letter said. "The bosses only care about making more cars faster. They don't care if we're tired or have good ideas. I used to love working for Tesla. I believed in the dream. Not anymore." Elon frowned. This wasn't the first letter like this. 10 good workers had quit in the last month, and quality checks were finding more mistakes in the cars. Something was changing at his factory, and not in a good way. He pressed a button on his desk. "Darius, can you come in?" A minute later, Darius walked in. He was tall and always dressed perfectly. He had been Elon's assistant for 3 years. If anyone knew what was happening at Tesla, it was Darius. "What's up, boss?" Darius asked. Elon handed him Sam's letter. "Have you seen more of these?" Darius read it quickly. His face fell. "Yes, too many." "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried, sir, but you've been so busy with the new car launch and the space program, and the managers all say everything is fine. They show you the good numbers." Elon stood up and walked to the window. He watched the workers below. They looked so small from up here. He couldn't see their faces. He couldn't hear their voices. "The managers tell me what they think I want to hear," Elon said quietly. "I need to know what's really happening, not what people tell me is happening." "How will you do that, sir?" Darius asked. Elon turned around. His eyes were bright with a new idea. "I'll work in my own factory as a regular worker. No one will know who I am." Darius's mouth fell open. "Is that smart? What if someone knows your face? Your picture is everywhere." "That's where you come in," Elon smiled. He walked to his desk and opened the bottom drawer. He pulled out a small box and placed it on the desk. He opened it. Inside were glasses with thick black frames, a bottle of brown hair dye, a fake beard, and some makeup. Darius stared at the strange collection. "You've been planning this?" "I've been thinking about it," Elon admitted, "for months, but Sam's letter was the last straw." Elon picked up another paper from his desk. This one had numbers, but not the kind that made him happy. Worker injuries were up 15%, sick days had doubled, and quality problems had gone up 23%. "These numbers tell the real story," Elon said. "The workers aren't happy. They're getting hurt, they're making mistakes, and they're leaving. But the factory managers aren't telling me everything." Elon cut in. Or maybe they don't even know. Maybe they're stuck in their offices looking at computer screens all day, just like me. Elon began to pace around his large office. His mind was racing. "I built this company to make the world better," he said, "to make clean cars that people love, to show that doing good can also be good business. If we're hurting our workers, we're failing." Darius nodded slowly. "So you really want to go undercover, like in those TV shows?" "Exactly like that," Elon said. "I'll be a regular worker. I'll do the jobs they do. I'll eat lunch with them. I'll listen to them complain about the bosses," he grinned. "Maybe I'll even hear them complain about me." "And what name will you use? Surely not your own." Elon thought for a moment. "Elijah Miller. It sounds normal, forgettable." Darius wasn't convinced. "But sir, you don't talk like a factory worker. You don't act like one. You've never been one." "I can learn." Elon insisted. I'm good at learning new things. And what about your other jobs? SpaceX, your other companies, Twitter, the robot project? You'll cover for me, Elon said. Say I'm on a special project, working from home in meetings all day. Darius sighed. He knew that look in Elon's eyes. There was no changing his mind now. How long will you do this? He asked. 2 weeks, Elon replied. That should be enough time to see what's really happening. And what if someone recognizes you? Elon picked up the fake beard and held it against his face. They won't. Darius didn't look sure, but he nodded. I'll help you set it up. We'll need fake papers, a backstory, work history, make me an average guy. Worked at small car shops before, nothing special. Elon looked again at the factory outside his window. From up here, it all looked perfect. The cars moved smoothly down the line, the robots never got tired, the machines never complained. But down there, real people were working hard. People with names, families, and problems. People who believed in Tesla once. People like Sam, who didn't believe anymore. I need to see it with my own eyes, Elon said. I need to hear it with my own ears. No filters, no managers making things look good. He turned to Darius with fire in his eyes. I built this company to change the world, to make things better. If we're breaking our workers to build our cars, then we've lost our way, and I need to find it again. Darius nodded. He understood now. I'll make the arrangements. When do you want to start? Elon looked at his calendar on the wall. Next week was full of meetings, important people, big decisions. He picked up a red marker and drew a big X through all of it. Monday, he said. I start Monday. That gave them just 3 days to turn Elon Musk, one of the most famous faces in the world, into nobody special, Elijah Miller. Darius made some calls. By Friday afternoon, a woman named May arrived at Elon's house. She carried 2 large black cases. May is the best makeup artist in Hollywood, Darius explained. She makes movie stars look like monsters or old people or whatever they need. May had short black hair with purple tips. She wore bright yellow glasses and had stars tattooed on her wrists. She didn't seem impressed by Elon's big house or by Elon himself. So you want to look like not you? She said, looking him up and down. That won't be easy. Can you do it? Elon asked. May smiled. Of course I can. I once made Brad Pitt look like an 80-year-old woman. You'll be easy. She opened her cases. They were filled with small bottles, brushes, powders, and strange tools Elon had never seen before. I need a regular, boring guy that no one will look at twice, Elon said. I know exactly what to do, May replied. Sit down and don't move for the next 3 hours. May worked her magic. First, she dyed Elon's hair brown. Then she added touches of gray at his temples. She made him wear brown contact lenses to hide his green eyes. She used special makeup to make his skin look rougher, with a few more wrinkles around his eyes. The fake beard came next, but it wasn't just any fake beard. May attached it hair by hair, testing each spot to make sure it wouldn't come off. This beard is waterproof, she explained. You can shower with it, sleep with it. It won't fall off unless you use this special remover. She held up a small blue bottle. Elon looked in the mirror. A stranger looked back at him. His sharp face was now softer, hidden behind the beard. The brown hair made him look more ordinary. The wrinkles added years to his age. Now for the final touch, May said. She handed him thick-framed glasses. These will change how your eyes look, which is important. Eyes are how people recognize each other. Elon put on the glasses. The transformation was complete. He didn't just look different. He looked like a totally different person. I wouldn't recognize you, Darius admitted, staring in amazement. But looking different isn't enough, May warned. You also need to act different. You need to change how you talk, how you stand, how you walk. She was right. Elon knew he had unusual ways of talking and moving. People who knew him would spot those habits right away. How do I do that? He asked. Practice, May said. I'll show you. For the next 2 days, Elon practiced being Elijah Miller. May taught him to talk slower, without his usual fast, excited way of speaking. She made him practice a slight limp, as if he had an old injury. Don't stand so straight, she instructed. Regular people slouch a little, and don't make so much eye contact. It makes people nervous. Elon practiced walking with a slight limp. He practiced slouching his shoulders. He practiced talking in a lower, slower voice. Where did you grow up, Mr. Miller? May would ask. Ohio, Elon would answer, remembering the backstory they had created. A small town called Riverside. Worked in my uncle's garage after school. And what brings you to Tesla? Always liked cars. Heard the pay was good. Need the health insurance. They practiced until Elijah Miller felt real. Until Elon could answer any question without thinking too hard or slipping back into his normal voice. Meanwhile, Darius created Elijah's paperwork. He made a driver's license, work history, even a Facebook page with a few photos of Elijah that May took and changed with computer tricks. Your story is that you worked at small car repair shops most of your life, Darius explained. You moved here recently after a divorce. You needed a fresh start. Why Tesla? Elon asked. Because you believe in electric cars. You think they're the future. That part can be true. On Sunday night, Elon tried on his Elijah clothes. Old jeans with a worn spot on one knee, a faded blue t-shirt, work boots that Darius had scuffed up to look used, a cheap watch, no fancy phone, just a basic model. Elon practiced introducing himself in the mirror. Hi, I'm Elijah Miller. Friends call me Eli. His voice was deeper than usual, with a slight Midwest accent that May had taught him. Perfect, Darius said. I wouldn't know it was you, and I see you every day. That night, Elon couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what he might find at the factory. Would the workers hate their jobs? Would they hate him? Would his disguise really work? Darius had rented a small apartment near the factory for Elijah to use. It had basic furniture and not much else. Elon would drive there in an old Honda Civic, not his usual Tesla. Remember, you're not rich anymore, Darius reminded him. You're living paycheck to paycheck like most of your workers. As the sun rose on Monday morning, Elijah, got out of bed in the small apartment. He made instant coffee in a chipped mug. He packed a simple lunch in a plastic container, a sandwich, an apple, a small bag of chips. This was how his workers lived. This was part of understanding. He looked in the mirror. One last time, Elijah Miller looked back at him. Average, ordinary, forgettable, perfect. Time to go to work, he said to himself. Elijah walked out to the old Honda Civic parked in front of his apartment. It felt strange not to drive a Tesla. This car had scratches on the door and a crack in the windshield. The engine made a rough sound when he started it. He joined the morning traffic, heading to the factory. Hundreds of cars, all going to the same place. He was just one of many now. The Tesla factory was huge. From the highway, it looked like a giant white box with the Tesla name on top. Elijah had seen it 1,000 times, but always from his office window, or when his driver brought him to the main entrance. Today, he followed the signs to employee parking lot C. It was far from the main building. He parked between a rusty pickup truck and a minivan with a child's car seat in the back. Workers streamed toward the factory. Most looked tired. Some carried lunchboxes. A few smiled and talked, but most walked in silence. Elijah joined them. He copied how they walked. Not too fast, not too slow, head slightly down. No one gave him a second look. The new worker entrance was on the side of the building. A sign said, "New employees report here." A line of people waited outside. Elijah joined the end of the line. "First day?" asked the man in front of him. "Yeah," Elijah replied, remembering to use his Elijah voice. "You too?" "Third time working here," the man said. "They laid me off twice before, but I keep coming back. Pays better than most places." Elijah nodded, not sure what to say. In his real job, he approved those layoffs. When times were tough, he never thought about the same workers coming back. The line moved slowly. Finally, Elijah reached the front desk. A woman with tired eyes looked up at him. "Name?" she asked without smiling. "Elijah Miller," he said. "ID?" He handed over his fake driver's license. His heart beat faster. Would she notice something wrong? The woman barely looked at it. She typed his name into a computer. "Previous experience?" "Small car shops, mostly repairs," he said. She nodded and kept typing. "We need people badly," she said. "You start today on assembly line B. Get your badge and safety gear at the next desk, then wait for orientation." Just like that, he was in. No hard questions, no suspicion. They were so desperate for workers that they didn't look closely. Elijah got his badge, a hard hat, and safety glasses. He pinned the badge to his shirt, Elijah Miller, Assembly B. A group of new workers gathered in a small room. A video played showing safety rules and company policies. Elijah had approved this video last year, but he'd never actually watched it. It was boring, even to him. After the video, a man named Raul appeared. He wore a badge that said, "Team Leader." "Welcome to Tesla," Raul said. I'll show you around and get you to your stations. Stay together and don't touch anything yet. Raul led them through a door and onto the factory floor. The noise hit Elijah first. Machines humming, robots moving, tools buzzing. It was much louder than it seemed from his quiet office upstairs. The factory floor was massive. Cars in different stages moved along assembly lines. Workers in matching shirts stood at stations doing the same tasks over and over. This is where we build the future, Raul said, but he didn't sound excited. He sounded like someone who had said the same thing many times before. Raul pointed out different areas as they walked. Paint shop, battery assembly, final testing. He showed them break rooms, bathrooms, and emergency exits. The work is hard, Raul told them as they walked. The bosses push us to go faster and faster. They don't care if we get tired. Some new workers looked worried when he said this. One woman asked, "How many hours do we work?" 8-hour shifts, usually, Raul answered. But there's mandatory overtime when we're behind schedule, and we're always behind schedule. Elijah listened carefully. He had never heard workers talk like this before. In meetings, the managers always said morale was good. Raul led them to assembly line B. "This is where you'll work," he said. "Each of you will learn one station. You do the same task all day. It's easy to learn, but hard on your body." Elijah looked at the workers already there. Some had bandages on their hands. One man had a brace on his wrist. They moved quickly, if no wasted motions. Their faces showed no emotion. Raul assigned each new worker to a trainer. Elijah was paired with a woman named Priya. She had dark hair, pulled back in a tight ponytail, and quick, careful hands. "I'll show you how to install door panels," Priya said. "Watch me first." Elijah watched as she grabbed parts from bins, lined them up, used a power tool to attach them, checked alignment, then hit a button to send the car to the next station. The whole process took less than 2 minutes. Then another car arrived and she did it all again. "Now you try," she said. After a few cars, Elijah tried to copy her movements. He fumbled with the parts. The power tool was heavier than it looked. His first door panel was crooked. "No, like this," Priya said, fixing his mistake. She wasn't mean about it, but he could tell she was used to fixing new worker errors. By lunchtime, Elijah's back hurt. His hands were sore. He had only installed 10 door panels, while Priya could do 30 in the same time. "You'll get faster," she said, not unkindly. "Everyone's slow at first." The lunch bell rang. Workers quickly put down their tools and headed to the break room. Elijah grabbed his lunch bag and followed. The break room was crowded and noisy. Long tables filled the room. The air smelled like microwaved food. He found an empty spot and sat alone. He unwrapped his sandwich and watched the other workers. At one table, workers complained about long hours. At another, they talked about a manager named Trevor who yelled too much. Some discussed pay and how hard it was to make ends meet. One worker named Jackson said, "This place used to be better. When we first started, it felt special, like we were changing the world. Now it's just another factory job." Elijah felt strange listening to all this. This was his company, but he didn't know these problems existed. In his office, with managers telling him what he wanted to hear, he had missed what was really happening. The lunch bell rang again. Break time was over. Elijah headed back to his station, his mind racing with all he had learned in just one morning as a regular Tesla worker. The afternoon dragged on. Car after car moved down the line, door panel after door panel. By the end of his shift, Elijah's hands were raw, his back ached like never before, and his feet throbbed in his new work boots. "You did okay for your first day," Priya told him as they cleaned up their station. "Tomorrow will be easier." Elijah wasn't sure he believed that, but he nodded. "Thanks for your help." The drive home to his small apartment felt longer than the morning drive. Every muscle in his body hurt. He couldn't remember the last time he felt this tired. Maybe never. That night, he called Darius from a burner phone they had set up for emergencies. "How was it?" Darius asked. "Eye-opening," Elijah said. "The workers are unhappy. They work too hard. The conditions aren't what I thought." "Do you want to stop?" Darius sounded hopeful. "No, I need to learn more." For the next 3 days, Elijah returned to the assembly line. Each day, his hands got a little faster, his back hurt a little less, but he noticed more problems. The air system didn't work right. Some areas were too hot, others too cold. The safety equipment was old. The break room was always overcrowded. The bathrooms were never clean. On his third day, he met the floor boss, Trevor. A tall man with a red face and a loud voice, Trevor walked up and down the line, watching workers, looking for mistakes, looking for people who were too slow. Elijah was struggling with a door panel that wasn't fitting right. He tried 3 times to make it work. "Miller!" Trevor's voice boomed across the factory floor. "What's the holdup?" Elijah looked up, startled. "The panel isn't lining up, sir." Trevor stomped over. His face was even redder up close. "That's because you're doing it wrong." He grabbed the panel from Elijah and slammed it into place. "Every minute we're stopped costs the company money. You cost us money, Miller. Speed up or get out." Elijah felt his face get hot. In his real life, he could fire Trevor with a word. He could buy and sell men like Trevor 1,000 times over. But now he was just Elijah Miller, a new worker who was too slow. "Sorry, sir," he said, keeping his eyes down. "I'll do better." Trevor snorted and walked away. Priya, who worked at the next station, gave Elijah a sympathetic look. "Don't take it personally," she said quietly. "He yells at everyone." "Does he always talk to workers like that?" Elijah asked. "Trevor? Yeah, he's one of the better ones, actually. At least he tells you what you did wrong. Some bosses just write you up without saying anything." This shocked Elijah. Trevor was one of the better managers? What were the others like? During lunch that day, Elijah sat with Priya. She was eating a homemade curry that smelled amazing. "Tell me about working here," he said to her. "You seem to know what you're doing." Priya smiled a little. "I've been here 3 years. I'm faster than most." "Do you like it?" Elijah asked. He tried to sound casual, but he really wanted to know. Priya thought for a moment. "I used to love it," she finally said. "I love Tesla cars. I love what they mean for the planet. I used to be proud to work here. Now it feels different." "What changed?" Elijah asked, leaning forward. "The managers only care about numbers," she said. "They forget we're people. We have good ideas, but no one listens. We know ways to make things better, faster, safer, but when we speak up, they ignore us." Elijah frowned. This was exactly what Sam's letter had said. No one listens. "Like what ideas?" he asked. Priya's eyes lit up. "I've thought about a better way to organize the parts bins. It would save us reaching so far, which hurts our backs. And Desa from Line C has ideas about fixing the robots when they jam instead of waiting for techs." She stopped suddenly, looking embarrassed. "Sorry, I get carried away sometimes." "No, it's interesting," Elijah said. "You should tell your bosses these things." Priya laughed. "I've tried. We all have. They don't care what we think." On his 4th day, disaster struck. Elijah was getting faster with the door panels, but he was still learning. He grabbed a part without looking carefully and dropped it. The metal part hit the concrete floor with a loud clang. Trevor appeared instantly. "What was that, Miller?" "I dropped a part, sir. I'm sorry." Trevor's face turned deep red. "Do you know how much that costs? You just threw away company money." He picked up the part and shoved it in Elijah's face. "See that dent? Now it's trash." Elijah wanted to say the part could still be used. He wanted to say that mistakes happen. He wanted to say who he really was. But he stayed quiet. He needed to learn more. He couldn't blow his cover yet. "I'm sorry, sir," he said again. "It won't happen again." "It better not," Trevor growled. "One more mistake and you're out." That night, in his small apartment, Elijah looked at himself in the mirror. His beard was itchy. The brown contact lenses made his eyes feel dry. His hands had small cuts, and his back still ached. But he was learning things no CEO ever knows. He was seeing his company through new eyes, workers' eyes. He thought about Pra's ideas that no one would listen to. He thought about the broken air system. He thought about Trevor yelling at workers who were trying their best. "This isn't the company I wanted to build," he whispered to his reflection. "This isn't right." Tomorrow would be his 5th day. He would keep watching, keep learning, and soon he would start making changes. But first, he needed to understand more, not just about the work, but about the workers, the people who built his cars, the people whose ideas were being ignored. On day 5, something new happened. At lunch, as Elijah sat down with his sandwich, Pra walked over. "Want to join us?" she asked, pointing to a table where a few workers sat. Elijah hesitated. He wasn't good at making small talk. As Elon, people wanted to talk to him because he was famous and rich. As Elijah, he would have to be normal, just one of the guys. "Sure," he said, picking up his lunch. Pra led him to the table. "This is Elijah," she said. "He's new on my line. He's not terrible at door panels." Coming from Pra, this seemed to be high praise. The others made room for him. "That's Raul," Pra said, pointing to the team leader who had shown Elijah around on his first day. "And that's Zach, Minnie, and Deshaun." Zach was older, maybe 50, with gray hair and strong arms. Minnie was a small woman with short black hair and bright eyes. Deshaun was tall and thin, with clever hands that never seemed to stop moving, even as he ate. "Welcome to the trouble table," Zach said with a smile. "We're the ones who care too much and complain too much. Don't scare him off," Minnie said. "He'll think we're all grumpy." "We are all grumpy," Deshaun pointed out. They all laughed, and Elijah relaxed a little. These weren't the fake laughs he heard in business meetings. These were real people being real with each other. Over lunch, he learned about them. Raul had worked at Tesla for 5 years. He had 3 kids and a wife who worked nights as a nurse. Zach had been at the factory the longest, almost since the beginning. Minnie knew everything about Tesla cars and could name every part from memory. Deshaun could fix any machine on the floor, and often did, even though it wasn't his job. "How long have you all been friends?" Elijah asked. "Since the good old days," Zach said. "When was that?" Elijah asked, genuinely curious. They all got quiet for a moment. Then Zach spoke. "When we first started, this place was special. We were making cars that would change the world. We were part of something big. Everyone felt it. Even the bosses cared about more than just numbers," Raul added. "They listened to us. They fixed problems. Now it's just about making more cars faster." "Quality doesn't matter as much, and we're just part of the machine," Minnie said. Elijah thought about this. Had Tesla lost its soul as it got bigger? Had he been so focused on production numbers that he'd forgotten what made Tesla special in the first place? The next day, Elijah joined the same group for lunch. This time, they talked about their lives outside work. Pra was going to night school for engineering. She wanted to design cars someday. Minnie took care of her sick mom before and after her shifts. Deshaun was saving money to open his own repair shop. "What about you, Elijah?" Minnie asked. "What's your story?" Elijah remembered his backstory from Ohio. "Originally worked in small shops most of my life. Came here after my divorce for a fresh start." "Why Tesla?" asked Minnie. Elijah decided to tell part of the truth. "I believe in what electric cars can do for the planet. I wanted to be part of something important." Zach nodded. "That's why most of us came here. That's what makes it hard now. We still believe in the mission, but not how we're doing it." Over the next few days, Elijah became part of their group. During breaks, they would tell him about problems they saw. The air system in Section G never worked right. Workers got too hot in summer and too cold in winter. They had reported it many times, but nothing changed. The safety team ignored reports. Deshaun had reported a robot arm that moved unpredictably. "Someone's going to get hurt," he said, but the safety guys just put it on their list and never came back. The night shift got treated worse than the day shift. They got older equipment, fewer breaks, and mean bosses, Raul explained. "But they make the same cars we do," he added. Elijah took mental notes on everything. Each problem, each ignored idea, each example of workers being treated badly. As Elon, he could fix these things, but first he needed to understand them all. With one day at lunch, Zach sighed heavily. "I wish the big boss knew what was happening here." "Musk?" Raul asked. "He's too busy with his rocket ships," Zach said. "He started this company to make a difference." He paused. "I met him once, years ago. He really cared then." Elijah leaned forward, interested. "You met Elon Musk?" "Back when we had only made like 100 cars," Zach nodded. "He came to the floor and talked to everyone, asked for ideas, listened." "I wish the big boss knew," Minnie agreed. "Maybe he'd fix things." Just then, Trevor walked by their table. He must have heard them. "Musk? He doesn't care," Trevor sneered. "He's too busy with rocket ships and talking on TV. You think he cares about you? You're just parts in his factory." Trevor walked away laughing. Elijah felt his face get hot. He wanted to stand up and shout that Trevor was wrong, that he did care, that he was right here listening. But he couldn't blow his cover, not yet. He had more to learn. "Don't listen to Trevor," Pra said when Trevor was gone. "He's just bitter because he'll never get promoted again. Everyone knows he's terrible." "How did he become a boss then?" Elijah asked. "He makes his numbers," Deshaun said simply. That's all they care about upstairs. If your line makes enough cars, they don't care how you treat people. Elijah frowned. Was that true? Did his management team only care about production numbers? Had he created a system where people like Trevor succeeded? As he thought about this, the lunch bell rang. Break time was over. Another long afternoon of door panels awaited. But Elijah didn't mind the work so much now. He had friends here, people he respected, people whose ideas deserved to be heard. He was beginning to form a plan. As his second week began, Elijah felt more at home on the factory floor. His hands moved faster, his back didn't hurt as much. He knew the names of more workers now. He belonged. On Monday morning, their supervisor announced that production needed to increase. "We're behind schedule," she said. "Each line needs 10 more cars today. No excuses." The workers looked at each other. They were already working as fast as they could. "How are we supposed to do that?" someone asked. "Figure it out," the supervisor said, then she walked away. Elijah could feel the mood change. Everyone worked faster, more stressed. No one talked, no one smiled. They just rushed. Rushing meant mistakes. Rushing meant danger. Just before lunch, Elijah heard a loud crack from the next section over. Something was wrong with one of the big machines. It moved in a jerky way, not its usual smooth motion. Minnie worked at that station. She was reaching for a part when the machine arm swung wildly. It was heading right for her. Elijah didn't think. He ran. He grabbed M's arm and pulled her back. The machine arm swung through the empty space where she had just been standing. M's face was white. "That would have hit me," she whispered. Workers gathered around. The machine was still moving strangely. Someone hit the emergency stop button. The whole line went quiet. "Are you okay?" Elijah asked Minnie. She nodded, still shaking. "Thank you. You were so fast." Deshaun pushed through the crowd. "That's the arm I reported last week," he said angrily. "I told them it was moving wrong. They said they'd fix it." Trevor arrived, red-faced as usual. "What happened? Why is the line stopped?" Elijah stepped forward. "The machine malfunctioned and it almost hit Minnie." Trevor looked at the machine. "Looks fine to me. Someone must have bumped it." "No," Deshaun said firmly. "It's been acting up for days. I reported it 3 times." "Well, I never saw those reports," Trevor said, "but we need to get moving again. We're behind schedule." Elijah couldn't believe what he was hearing. Minnie had almost been seriously hurt, and all Trevor cared about was the schedule. "We can't use this machine until it's fixed," Elijah said. "It's not safe." Trevor glared at him. "Are you telling me how to do my job, Miller?" "I'm saying someone could get hurt," Elijah replied, trying to stay calm. "Fine," Trevor snapped. "We'll rope it off until the repair team gets here. Everyone else, back to work. We're now even further behind." At lunch, no one talked about anything except the machine. "We told bosses about that machine 3 times, Deshaun said, still angry. "They say it costs too much to fix." "How much does it cost if someone gets hurt?" Prisha asked. "They don't care," Zach said. "They just want the cars." Elijah was quiet. He was thinking about all the safety reports he'd seen. They always showed good numbers. Few accidents, few problems. Had those reports been lies? After his shift ended, Elijah didn't go back to his apartment. Instead, he drove to a small hotel 30 miles away. In his hotel room, he carefully removed his fake beard using May's special solution. He took out the brown contact lenses and washed the makeup from his face. Elon Musk looked back at him in the mirror. He changed into an expensive suit and drove his real car to the factory. It was after 9 p.m. Most workers were gone. Using his CEO keycard, he entered through the executive entrance. The night guard looked surprised. "Mr. Musk, we didn't know you were coming in tonight." "Working late," Elon said with a smile. "Don't mind me." In his office, Elon pulled up the safety reports. He looked more carefully now. Yes, there were a few accidents reported, but there were hundreds of near misses that no one had addressed. The machine that almost hit Minnie had 5 reports attached to it. Angry now, Elon sent urgent emails. He ordered immediate inspection of all machines with reports against them. He demanded the air system be fixed. He allocated emergency funds for safety improvements. Then he did something he'd never done before. He looked at the worker suggestion database. It was full, thousands of ideas from workers on how to improve things, most of which had never been read by management. Elon stayed until midnight, sending emails and making calls. He ordered new machines. He told the safety team to address every open report by the end of the week. He set up a new system to make sure worker ideas got reviewed. At the hotel, he carefully became Elijah again. The beard, the contacts, the makeup, the old clothes. By morning, Elon Musk was gone, and Elijah Miller headed back to the factory for his shift. When Elijah arrived, something strange was happening. Repair teams were everywhere. They worked on the broken machine, they checked others, and they fixed the air vents. Workers stood around watching in surprise. "What's going on?" Elijah asked Zach. "No idea," Zach said. "Someone important must have complained. They never moved this fast otherwise." Deshaun came over grinning. "They're replacing the broken machine with a new one, brand new, and they're checking every other machine," I reported. M joined them. "The safety team is here too. They're talking to everyone about near misses. They've never done that before." Prisha looked suspicious. "Why now? What changed?" Raul had an answer. "I heard that Musk himself came in last night, stayed for hours, sent a bunch of angry emails. Apparently he saw the report about M's near miss and went crazy." "Musk was here?" Zach asked, surprised. "Why would he care about one almost accident?" Elijah tried to look casual. "Maybe he does care after all." "Maybe," Raul said, "or maybe he's worried about lawsuits." Trevor walked by, looking confused and a little scared. For once, he wasn't yelling at anyone. As the day went on, more changes appeared. Fresh water coolers, new safety gear, repair teams fixing things that had been broken for months. "Someone important must have complained," workers kept saying. Elijah just smiled. His plan was working, but he was just getting started. The next morning, Elijah arrived at work to find a notice on the bulletin board. "Cleaning staff needed for office building H. Pay applies today." This was perfect. The factory floor had shown him a lot, but he still needed to understand why worker concerns were being ignored. The answer had to be in the management offices. During his lunch break, Elijah applied for the cleaning job. By the end of his shift, he was approved. Starting tomorrow, he would clean offices instead of installing door panels. "You're leaving us?" Priya asked when he told the lunch group. "Just for a while," Elijah said. "The pay is better, and I need the money." This wasn't true, of course, but it was what Elijah Miller would say. "Be careful up there," Raul warned. The office people live in a different world. The next day, Elijah reported to the maintenance supervisor, a tired woman named Gloria, who barely looked at him as she handed over a cart of cleaning supplies. "Floors 2 and 3 are yours," she said. "Vacuum, dust, empty trash. Don't touch papers on desks. Don't talk to the office people unless they talk to you first. Try to be invisible." Elijah pushed his cart into the elevator. He'd been in this building hundreds of times as Elon Musk, but never like this, never as someone who was supposed to be invisible. The office building was connected to the factory, but felt like another planet. It was quiet. The air worked perfectly. Not too hot, not too cold. The lighting was soft, not the harsh brightness of the factory floor. The bathrooms were always clean. Elijah started cleaning on the second floor. This was middle management, people who ran departments but weren't top executives. He vacuumed offices while listening to phone calls. He emptied trash while reading notes on desks. He dusted conference rooms while meetings happened. What he heard shocked him. "The workers are complaining about the heat again," one manager said during a meeting. "Tell them we're working on it. That should shut them up for a while." "Safety reports are up this month," another said. "Let's adjust how we count them. Only include the serious ones. We need to push production higher." A woman in an expensive suit demanded, "I don't care if they're tired. We have quotas to hit." As Elijah moved through the offices, he felt like he was seeing his company through a broken mirror. Everything was twisted. The values he thought Tesla stood for, innovation, sustainability, treating people well, seemed forgotten here. On the third floor, things were even worse. This was where the senior managers worked, the ones just below the executives, the ones who decided what information went up to Elon and what didn't. Elijah cleaned floors while listening to meetings. He heard managers talk about pushing workers harder and cutting costs. One manager, Victor, seemed the worst. He was tall and thin, with cold eyes and an expensive watch. He ran factory operations and reported directly to the executive team. In a meeting with his staff, Victor talked about workers like they weren't people. Who cares if they're tired, he said. We have production goals. They're replaceable parts in the machine. If they can't keep up, we find new ones. Elijah felt sick listening to this. This wasn't how he wanted his company run. This wasn't the culture he thought he'd built. As he cleaned, Elijah found more evidence, reports that never made it upstairs, safety concerns marked too expensive, ignored, good ideas from workers that were never shared. He wrote everything down in a small notebook he kept in his pocket, names, dates, problems. He took pictures with his phone when no one was looking. One evening, as the offices emptied, Elijah found papers on Victor's desk showing he had deliberately ignored safety reports, including the one about the machine that almost hurt me. Victor had marked it delay, too costly. Elijah took pictures with his phone. This was the evidence he needed. Over dinner with his friends that night, Elijah asked careful questions. Has anyone ever met Victor Henderson? He asked, mentioning the operations manager. Everyone made faces. The worst, Zach said. He comes to the floor once a month, looks around like we're dirt, then leaves. He stopped all overtime pay for holidays, Rawl added. Said we should be grateful for jobs and he's the one who decides which safety issues get fixed, Dessa said. Almost none. Elijah nodded. The puzzle pieces were fitting together. Victor and managers like him were the wall between workers and executives. They filtered information, making sure the bad stuff never reached the top. For 3 days, Elijah cleaned the offices. He gathered evidence. He listened to meetings. He took pictures of documents. He learned that Victor had a system. Worker complaints went into 3 categories: ignore, delay, or cheap fix. Only the cheap, easy problems ever got addressed. The rest were hidden. On his 4th evening cleaning, Elijah stayed late. Most offices were empty. He wanted to check Victor's files one more time before returning to the factory floor tomorrow. As he pushed his cart down a quiet hallway, he heard something odd. It sounded like someone crying. Elijah stopped. The sound was soft but clear. Someone was definitely crying. He followed the sound. It came from a small office at the end of the hall. The door was partly open, a thin line of light showing through the crack. Elijah moved closer. He could see a woman sitting at a desk, her head in her hands. Papers were spread out all around her. She was crying quietly, trying not to make noise. Elijah recognized her. It was Linda from HR, who worked under Fiona. Linda was surrounded by papers, and as Elijah looked closer, he could see they were worker complaints, hundreds of them, all marked ignored in red. Elijah hesitated. He wasn't supposed to talk to office people. He was supposed to be invisible. But someone crying alone needed help, not rules. He knocked gently on the door. The crying stopped instantly. The woman looked up, startled. She quickly wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "I'm sorry," she said, trying to compose herself. "I didn't know anyone was still here." Elijah pushed his cleaning cart to the side and stepped into the doorway. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," she interrupted. "Just cleaning up some old files." She started gathering the papers in front of her, trying to hide them, but Elijah had already seen them. They were worker complaints, hundreds of them, all stamped ignored in big red letters. "That's a lot of papers," he said, nodding toward the desk. Linda stopped trying to hide them. She looked tired, like someone carrying a heavy weight for too long. "Just work stuff," she said. "Nothing important." Elijah could tell she was lying. "I'm Elijah," he said. "I'm new cleaning staff." "Linda," she replied. "HR department." Elijah stepped into the small office. He pointed at the papers. "Those look like worker complaints." Linda looked surprised. "How did you know?" "I work on the factory floor too," Elijah explained. "Or I did until a few days ago. I've seen those forms before." Linda sighed deeply. She seemed to make a decision. "Yes, they're worker complaints, safety issues, ideas for improvements, problems that need fixing." "Why are you crying about these?" Elijah asked gently. Linda looked at him for a long time. Her eyes were red from crying. She seemed to be deciding whether to trust him. Finally, she spoke. "Because I can't do anything about them. I read every single one. I file them properly. I send them up the chain, and then they disappear." "Disappear?" Elijah asked, though he already knew the answer. "Victor makes us ignore them," Linda said, her voice getting angry. "He marks them all as low priority or too expensive. He threatens our jobs if we send them higher." Elijah pulled over a chair and sat down. "So no one above knows about these problems?" "No," Linda said. "Victor controls what information goes up. He only sends good news, production numbers, cost savings, things that make him look good. And if you try to go around him, Elijah asked. I did once, Linda admitted. I took a serious safety concern directly to a VP. Victor found out. He cut my team's budget. He gave me the worst performance review possible. He made it clear I would be fired if I ever did it again. Linda wiped away a fresh tear. And I need this job. My kid has medical bills, special needs. I can't risk it. Elijah felt a mixture of anger and sadness. This wasn't just about bad managers. It was about good people trapped in a broken system. So these worker concerns just die here? He asked. Linda nodded. The worst part is facing the workers. They submit these complaints expecting someone to help. They follow up asking what happened. I have to lie to them, tell them we're working on it. But we never are. She picked up one of the papers. This one is about back injuries online. See 6 workers hurt in 2 months. Victor says it's because they're not lifting properly, but it's the workstation design. It forces bad posture. She picked up another. This one is from a young engineer with an idea to reduce battery waste. Could save millions of dollars. Victor says it would disrupt the process. Really, he just doesn't want to admit someone below him had a good idea. Elijah felt sick. How many great ideas had been buried? How many safety issues ignored? How many workers hurt because of Victor's pride? Why are you going through these old reports now? Elijah asked. Because something weird is happening, Linda said. Yesterday, repair teams fixed things that had been broken for months. Safety inspectors showed up, new equipment appeared. Some of these ignored complaints are suddenly being addressed. That's good, right? Elijah asked, trying to hide his smile. It's suspicious, Linda said. Victor is freaking out. He's demanding to know who went over his head. He thinks someone reported him to the executive team. Elijah tried to look innocent. Maybe someone important finally noticed the problems. Maybe, Linda said, but it won't last. Victor will find who did it and make their life hell. Then things will go back to how they were. What if someone could help without getting you in trouble? Elijah asked. Linda looked confused. Like who? Just a thought, Elijah said, smiling slightly. Linda looked at the pile of ignored complaints. I keep all of these, every single one. Even though Victor thinks they're gone, I thought maybe someday someone would care. Someone does care, Elijah said. Linda sighed. You seem nice, Elijah, but you're new. You don't understand how things work here. The managers protect each other. The executives are too far away, and Musk, well, he's probably a good guy deep down, but he doesn't see what happens on the ground. Elijah wanted badly to tell her who he really was, to promise her things would change, but he needed to be careful. His plan wasn't complete yet. What if Musk did see what happens on the ground? He asked. What would you tell him if you could? Linda thought for a moment. I'd tell him his workers still believe in Tesla. They care about the mission. They want to build amazing cars, but they're being crushed by managers who only care about numbers. I bet he'd want to know that, Elijah said. Maybe, Linda replied, but how would someone like me ever talk to someone like him? There are 10 layers of management between us. Elijah stood up. I should finish my cleaning rounds, but Linda, don't give up. Things might change sooner than you think. Linda managed a small smile. You're optimistic for a new guy. Just a feeling I have, Elijah said. By the way, do you know where Victor keeps his performance reviews? The ones he writes about workers and middle managers? Linda looked surprised by the question. In the filing cabinet in his office, the one marked personnel. Why? Elijah asked. Just curious, he said. Have a good night, Linda. As he pushed his cleaning cart away, Elijah's mind was racing with plans. Victor's office would be his next stop tonight, and tomorrow. Tomorrow would change everything. Elijah made sure no one was watching, then slipped into Victor's large corner office. The lights from the city sparkled through the window. Everything was neat and expensive. A leather chair, awards on the wall, family photos showing a perfect smiling wife and kids. The filing cabinet Linda mentioned was locked, but Elijah had watched Victor hide the key behind a picture frame. He found it easily. Inside the cabinet were folders full of evidence. Performance reviews where good workers were rated poorly for reporting problems, safety reports marked delay indefinitely, lists of workers who complained too much and should be removed when convenient. Elijah took pictures of everything with his phone, page after page, proof of all that was wrong. Then he found something even worse. A memo from Victor to other managers. Musk never needs to know about these issues. Our job is to shield him from worker complaints while meeting production goals. Keep him focused on the big picture. They thought they were protecting him. Instead, they were hiding the truth. Elijah carefully relocked the cabinet and put the key back. He finished his cleaning rounds and left the building. But he didn't go back to his small apartment. Instead, he drove to the hotel where he would become Elon again. That night, he called Darius. "I've seen enough," Elon said. "It's time to end this." Darius sounded relieved. "Yes, but not quietly. I need to make a statement, a big one." "What are you thinking?" Darius asked. "Announce a surprise visit to the factory tomorrow. Make sure all the executives and managers are there, and the workers too, all of them. That's thousands of people. Everyone," Elon insisted. Darius was quiet for a moment. "You found something bad, didn't you?" "I found that we've lost our way," Elon said, "and it's time to find it again." The next morning, Elijah didn't go to work for the first time in 2 weeks. He called in sick. He needed the time to prepare. He spent hours organizing his evidence. Pictures of unsafe conditions, records of ignored complaints, Victor's damning memos, worker ideas that were never considered. But he also wrote down all the good things. Pra's idea for a better assembly line, Deshawn's machine fixes, M's safety improvements, Linda's hidden collection of worker concerns. Most importantly, he wrote down the names of people who should be promoted and those who should be fired. As evening approached, Elon Musk emerged. The beard was gone, the brown hair dye washed out, the contact lenses removed. He put on his best suit. He looked at himself in the mirror. For 2 weeks, he had been someone else. He had seen his company through new eyes. Now it was time to be the boss again, but a different kind of boss. "Time to fix my company," he said to his reflection. As Elon walked through the executive entrance of the factory, security guards looked surprised. "Didn't expect you until the big meeting, sir," one said. "Wanted to come early," Elon replied with a smile. "Get ready." Word had spread quickly about the surprise meeting. The entire factory was buzzing with rumors. Why had Elon Musk suddenly called everyone together? What was going to happen? Elon went to his office and made final preparations. He uploaded his evidence to the presentation system. He reviewed his notes one more time. As 5 p.m. approached, workers and managers began filling the largest assembly area. A stage had been set up. Screens hung so everyone could see. From a side room, Elon watched them come in. Executives in suits stood at the front, looking nervous. Middle managers clustered together, whispering theories about the meeting. Workers filled the back, tired after their shifts, but curious. Elon spotted Victor standing with other senior managers. He looked confident, unworried. Then Elon saw his friends. Prisha, Raul, Zach, MG, and Deshawn stood together, probably wondering where Elijah was. He also saw Linda from HR, standing alone at the back, still looking sad. None of them knew what was about to happen. None of them knew that Elijah Miller had been Elon Musk all along. Darius appeared at his side. "Everyone's here. Are you ready?" Elon nodded. "More ready than I've ever been." "What exactly are you going to say?" Darius asked, looking worried. "The truth," Elon said simply. "For once, everyone's going to hear the whole truth." The lights dimmed. The crowd went quiet. Elon took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. Bright lights hit his face. The crowd went completely quiet. Thousands of eyes watched him, workers, managers, executives, all wondering why they were here. Elon walked to the microphone. He looked out over the sea of faces. In the front rows, executives in expensive suits shifted nervously. They weren't used to surprise meetings. Behind them, middle managers stood stiffly, trying to look important. At the back, the workers, tired after their shifts, some still in safety gear, hundreds of people who built Tesla cars every day. But rarely saw the CEO in person. "Thank you all for coming," Elon said into the microphone. His voice echoed through the huge space. "I've learned a lot about this factory recently." Victor stood near the front, arms crossed. He looked confident, unworried. After all, he'd made sure Elon never heard about any problems. "I learned some people here aren't listening," Elon continued, his eyes finding Victor. "Some managers ignore worker safety. They hide complaints. They care only about numbers, not the people who make this company run." Victor's smile dropped. He glanced at other managers, suddenly looking less confident. I know this because I worked among you for 2 weeks, Elon said. My name wasn't always Elon Musk. Some of you knew me as Elijah Miller. A shocked gasp spread through the crowd. People turned to each other, eyes wide. Whispers rushed like wind through leaves. That's not possible, someone said. Elijah, the new guy on assembly line B, the one who cleaned the offices in the back. Pra's mouth fell open. Raul pointed in shock. Zach grabbed M's arm, steadying himself. Deshawn just stared, unable to speak. Linda from HR covered her mouth with her hands. The night before, she had cried in front of Elon Musk and never knew it. Elon let the shock ripple through the room, then he held up his hand. The crowd went silent again. I needed to see for myself what was happening in my company. Gah, he explained. Not what I was being told in reports, not the numbers on spreadsheets, the real experience of working here. On the big screens, pictures appeared, the broken air system, the unsafe machines, the crowded break rooms, the ignored safety reports, and Victor's memos instructing managers to hide problems. I found a company that's lost its way, Elon said. A company where good ideas die, where safety concerns are ignored, where good people are treated like parts in a machine. Victor was trying to back away now, but security guards had quietly moved behind him. This stops today, Elon said firmly. He began announcing changes, immediate ones. Victor and 5 other senior managers were fired on the spot. Security would escort them out. As Victor was led away, his face red with anger and shame, Linda watched from the back, tears in her eyes again, but different tears this time. Elon wasn't done. He announced bigger changes. A new worker concerns team would be created, and Linda would lead it. Every complaint would be addressed. No more ignoring, no more delays. Safety would become the top priority. Every reported issue would be fixed within 48 hours. Worker ideas would be heard. A new innovation program would give bonuses for suggestions that improve the company. The break rooms would be expanded, the air system fixed, workstations redesigned to prevent injuries. And most importantly, the company would remember its mission. Not just making cars, but making the world better. That included making life better for the people who built those cars. As Elon spoke, the mood in the huge room changed. Workers stood taller, some smiled, others nodded as each problem they'd faced for years was finally acknowledged. After the announcements, Elon stepped down from the stage. He walked through the crowd, looking for specific people. He found his lunch group first. They still looked shocked. You tricked us, Zach said, but he was smiling. I had to know the truth, Elon replied, and now I do. All those things we said about the boss, Raul groaned, about you, we had no idea. That's exactly what I wanted, Elon said. I needed honest opinions, not people being careful around the CEO. Pra stepped forward. The ideas I mentioned about reorganizing the parts bins, were you serious about listening to workers' suggestions? More than serious, Elon said. I want you to lead the team that redesigns the assembly stations. You know better than any engineer what would work. Pra's eyes went wide. Me? But I'm just a line worker. Not anymore, Elon said. You're now head of assembly ergonomics. He turned to Deshawn. And you're in charge of a new rapid repair team. No more waiting days for fixes. You know these machines better than anyone. Deshawn couldn't speak. He just nodded, his eyes shining. Elon continued, I read your safety improvement ideas. They're brilliant. You're joining the safety team effective immediately. Finally, he looked at Raul. And you're our new worker training director. No one explains things better than you do. They all stood in shock, silence, trying to process what was happening. Why? Zach finally asked. Why go through all this? You could have just hired consultants or read reports. Reports lie, Elon said simply. Consultants tell you what you want to hear. I needed the truth. I needed to feel what you feel every day. He found Linda next. She was still wiping away tears. Thank you for keeping those complaint forms, he told her. You did the right thing, even when it was hard. I never imagined, she started, then shook her head, unable to finish. Your daughter's medical bills, Elon said quietly. Tesla will cover them. All of them. And we're establishing a special needs support fund for other employees with similar challenges. Linda couldn't speak. She just hugged him right there in front of everyone. The changes began immediately. The very next day, repair teams swarmed through the factory. New equipment arrived. Safety inspectors checked every machine, every process. The worker concerns team, led by Linda, set up offices right on the factory floor. No more sending complaints up to managers who might ignore them. Workers could walk in any time with problems or ideas. Pra's team redesigned assembly stations to prevent back injuries. Deshawn's repair crew fixed things as soon as they broke. M created new safety protocols that cut accidents by 60% in 1 month. Words spread about what happened at Tesla. Other companies started their own undercover boss programs. Some CEOs worked alongside employees for a day or a week, but none did what Elon had done, truly becoming a worker, living the experience fully. 1 month after the big reveal, Elon invited his former lunch group to his office. They sat around his big glass desk, still a bit awkward in such fancy surroundings. "The changes are working," Elon told them. "Quality is up, accidents are down, and surprisingly, so is cost. Turns out happy workers build better cars." "The floor feels different," Zach agreed. "People smile more. They care more because they know someone's listening." Roll added, "Exactly." As they talked, Pisha finally asked the question they'd all been wondering. "Why did you really do this, the whole undercover thing? It was risky. Someone could have recognized you." Elon was quiet for a moment. Then he told them something he hadn't shared at the big meeting. "6 months ago, my young daughter asked me a question," he began. "She'd heard someone online say I didn't care about my workers. She asked if that was true." The room was silent as he continued. "I told her, of course not, that I cared about everyone at Tesla. But later, I couldn't stop thinking about her question. Did I really know what was happening in my factory, or did I just think I knew?" He looked out his window at the factory below. "I needed to see for myself, not for the company, but for my own heart." When I heard Linda crying over those ignored complaints, I knew exactly how broken things had become. Everyone nodded, understanding now. "So, what happens next?" Me asked. Elon smiled and opened a drawer in his desk. He pulled out the fake beard, the glasses, and the hair dye. "Every month, Elijah Miller works a few days on the line," he said. "Not to spy, but to remember what it feels like to build the cars that change the world." "Won't people recognize you now?" Deshawn asked. "Maybe," Elon admitted. "But that's okay. The important thing is that I never forget what I learned. That the heart of Tesla isn't in this office. It's out there on the factory floor with all of you." As they left his office, Elon looked again at the factory through his window. The machines still hummed, the robots still danced, and the cars still rolled off the line. But now he saw more than machines. He saw people. People with names and faces he knew. People with ideas worth hearing. People who built his dream every day with their hands and hearts. He would never see Tesla the same way again, and neither would they. That's the story of how Elon Musk discovered what was really happening in his Tesla factory by going undercover. Sometimes the only way to find the truth is to see things through someone else's eyes. Where are you watching this video from today? Let us know in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, please hit that like button to spread a little kindness. Your support helps us create more content like this. If you enjoyed this story, don't miss our next video. It's appearing on your screen right now. Click to watch another inspiring tale that might just change how you see the world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.